So many people are waking up right now, questioning everything that they thought was true, from their identity to religion to the world itself. And it can feel terrifying, confusing, and even like you're losing your mind sometimes. In this video, we're going to talk about what a spiritual awakening actually is, how to know if you've had one, and why it's only the beginning of a much bigger journey. I've been through multiple awakenings myself, from ones promised in 12-step recovery to a veil-ripping dark night of the soul, and I want to help you see the map beneath the madness. Here's the truth that almost nobody tells you. A spiritual awakening isn't about becoming more spiritual. It's not about chanting more, buying crystals, or knowing the right lingo. A spiritual awakening is this: you become aware. Think about waking up in the morning. One moment, you're unconscious. The next, your senses come online. The room didn't change, but you did. Awakening is the same, but on a soul level. One moment, you're on autopilot, living the script that you're handed. The next, something cracks open inside of you, and you know you're not just a body, not just a role in a system. You are infinite, connected, and part of something much higher. And here's the part that most people miss. Awakening isn't random. It's coded into us because humanity itself moves in cycles. The ancients spoke of the yugas: the Kali Yuga, the dark age of sleep, and the Dwapara Yuga, the age of rising awareness. In the West, we speak of the astrological ages, leaving Pisces, the watery age of faith and confusion, and entering Aquarius, the age of air, clarity, and collective vision. If Pisces felt like being underwater, guided by currents and distortions, Aquarius is breaking the surface and taking a breath of fresh air. If Kali Yuga was midnight, Dwapara Yuga is the dawn. That's why so many are waking up right now. The collective alarm clock has gone off, and once you see, you can't unsee. Awakening isn't bliss or chosenness, it's awareness. Awareness that the world has never been what it seemed, and neither have you. In the next video I make, we'll be breaking down and making sense of the differences between awakening, dark night of the soul, enlightenment, and ascension, and all the other buzzwords that we find people saying on the awakening path. So make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss that one or future videos. If a spiritual awakening is awareness, what does that actually mean? First, let's clear something up. Awakening isn't the same as being spiritual. You can pray every day. You can burn incense. You can go to church. You can collect crystals or memorize scriptures and still never actually awaken. Why? Because spirituality is about belief systems and practices. Awakening is about perception. It's not something that you do. It's something that happens to you. It's like a switch flips, and once it flips, you can't turn it off. You don't just believe differently, you see everything differently. Before awakening, you most likely identified with your job, your relationships, your titles, your possessions, and they feel like your whole world. After awakening, those things might still matter to you, but you know deep down that they aren't all of who you are or what defines you. Before, life feels like a string of random events that you're trying to control. After, you start noticing patterns, synchronicities, and a higher order beneath the chaos. You get the sense that life isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. And while all of that might sound beautiful, and it is, here's the part that people don't talk about often. It can also be terrifying. Imagine this. It's like going into a coma in 1980 and waking up today. Suddenly, you're thrown into a world with smartphones, AI, same-day grocery deliveries, Uber, digital currency, social media, chaos. Some of it looks amazing, but it's also overwhelming, disorienting, and nothing feels familiar. That's what an awakening can feel like. One day you're living in the world that you thought you knew, and the next you open your eyes and realize that reality doesn't even work the way that you were told. I've been through this more than once. I've had awakenings around relationship dynamics that were painful to face, but they changed me deeply. I've had awakenings around inherited addiction patterns that forced me to confront my demons and choose sobriety, and that shifted my entire path. But my greatest awakening, the one that really shook me, was the one that I talk about here on my channel and in the podcast episode that I'll link below. In that awakening, it wasn't just one thing. It was everything all at the same time. The veil lifted, and all at once, I saw behind the medical system, the financial system, the governments, religion, relationships, like the curtain got pulled back on the whole stage of my life. I had new spiritual senses come online at the same time, and it was jarring, terrifying, and overwhelming. That awakening dropped me into the deepest dark night of the soul that I've ever had, one I nearly didn't make it out of. We'll talk about the dark night later in this video, but I just want you to know, awakening isn't just bliss and oneness. It's the disorientation of waking up in a world that you no longer recognize, and then learning how to walk through it with new eyes. If what I'm saying is resonating so far, and you felt like you've woken up in a world that you don't recognize, where your whole system is in threat mode, you don't have to figure it all out alone. That's exactly why I created the Fire on Circle. It's a free community where you'll find your tribe, people who are awakening, integrating, and supporting each other through the chaos. Inside, we do weekly discussion topics, journal prompts, shadow work practices, nervous system tools, and a collective tarot reading every week. Plus, we gather live every month, so you don't just consume content, you actually connect with your people. This is also where I'll be releasing my upcoming course on nervous system stability through awakening, where I teach you how to update your nervous system so that you can stay calm through the chaos, no matter what. I hope to see you there. You can find us at thefire.circle.so. That link will be in the description below. Go join us in the fire and come meet the people who will walk this path with you. Now, let's move on to the next part. What actually sparks a spiritual awakening in the first place? For many, it can begin with a crisis, a trauma, a breakdown, deep dissatisfaction, or collective upheaval, like what we all lived through in 2020. The life that you thought you had figured out suddenly stops making sense, and something in you cracks open. But awakening doesn't always come through pain. It can also rise gently through devotion, meditation, mystical experiences, plant medicine journeys, even recovery work. The 12 steps themselves promise a spiritual awakening as a result of the process. And sometimes it just happens spontaneously, like a switch that you never saw coming. Beyond the personal, the earth herself is shifting. Right now, the poles on our planet are literally moving. The magnetic field is thinning. Solar flares are intensifying. The climate is changing in ways that are part of a much larger cosmic cycle. And if you'd like to dive deeper into the science of this, one of my favorite channels is called Suspicious Observers, and I'll link them below. They cover the planetary shifts, the poles, and all the physical evidence of what's unfolding right now. And if you think that this has nothing to do with you, think again. We as humans are about 70% water. The moon alone moves the entire ocean. Tides rise and fall because of its pull. If the moon can move the oceans, do you really think that larger cosmic currents don't touch you? What happens in the heavens reverberates in us because we're not separate from the earth or the sky. We're part of the same system. And here's where it gets deeper. Your energy system, your chakras, they function like a battery. For millennia, humanity has been plugged into the old grid, unconsciously powering systems of control and illusion. It's like Neo in the Matrix, asleep but fueling a reality that kept him small. As more of us wake up, we begin to see the choice. We can keep unconsciously feeding the old system, or we can unplug, heal, reprogram, and direct our energy into something new. It's not easy, and it's a lot like climbing Mount Everest, but it's possible. With practice, conditioning, and community, we can break free from the old matrix and build a new world together. And this is why awakenings are happening in waves across the globe right now. As the earth shifts, so do we. As the poles move in the physical, they also shift within the collective. Critical mass is coming, and with it, the birth of a new world. And if you want the tools and training for that Everest climb, make sure that you're subscribed and join me inside the Fire Circle. That's where I'll be teaching about the chakra battery system in depth and showing you how to deprogram, break free from the old grid, and reclaim your true power and rise into your sovereign blueprint to build the new world, one chakra at a time. Now, on to the next piece. So, once that door cracks open, awakening doesn't look the same for everyone. There are actually many kinds of awakenings, and they can happen in layers. Sometimes it starts as a mental awakening, a new paradigm of thought. Suddenly you realize the world doesn't work the way that you were taught. A belief, an idea, or even a single sentence lands in you and it shifts the entire way that you see reality. Other times, it's an energetic awakening, often called Kundalini. This is when life force energy stirs in the body and starts moving through the chakras. It can feel a lot like electricity, heat, or waves of energy rising up in the spine. It can be exhilarating, but it also can be destabilizing if you don't know what's happening. Then there's the emotional awakening, sometimes known as a heart awakening. This is when your heart cracks open, often through love or through grief. You suddenly feel life more deeply than before. You may find yourself weeping at beauty, feeling overwhelming compassion, or confronting pain that you've buried for years. There's also the soul awakening, that moment of awareness when you know that you're more than a body, more than a personality, and you sense that your soul is infinite and that it's the very reason that you're here in a body at all. This one often brings both peace and responsibility because you realize that your choices ripple far beyond this lifetime. And then there's the mystical or veil lifting awakening. This is when the curtain gets pulled back and you start seeing through the illusions of society, institutions, and even relationships. Spiritual sight begins to come online. You may sense energy, hear guidance, or simply see through the false layers of the world. It's thrilling, but it can also be jarring because once you see behind the veil, you can't unsee what's there. These awakenings can be mild, like gentle nudges, or they can be extreme, like lightning strikes. And often, they don't happen just once. They come in layers: mental, emotional, energetic, soul, weaving together as your awareness keeps rising and expanding. Now, here's something that's really important to understand. A spiritual awakening isn't a one-time event. It's not like a light switch that turns on and then you're done. Awakening is cyclical. It's a spiral. Think of it like walking up a spiral staircase. You circle back to the same themes and the same lessons, but each time you meet them from a higher level of awareness. Each turn of the spiral stretches you, refines you, and lifts you higher. Here's the part that people don't always like to hear. What you avoid on one turn of the spiral will wait for you on the next. The shadows you don't face, the patterns you don't break, the healing that you resist, it doesn't disappear. It just meets you again in the next cycle until you integrate it. This is true for us individually, and it's true collectively. Humanity moves through spirals too. We've talked about the yugas: Kali Yuga, the dark age of sleep, and Dwapara Yuga, the age of rising awareness. We've talked about moving from Pisces, the watery age of belief, into Aquarius, the age of light and direct knowing. Those are the big collective spirals. And just as a note, tools like numerology and astrology become really helpful here because they map these cycles. They give us insight into the themes that may arise in any given period, both in our personal lives and for the collective. They don't control us, but they can highlight the lessons and the themes that are likely to show up as we move through each turn of the spiral. And that's the point. These cycles aren't random. They are the rhythm of awakening itself, carrying us higher each time if we're willing to do the work. So when people ask, have I had an awakening? The truth is, you'll likely have many. And every single one matters because each one prepares you for the next. So if awakening happens again and again, you might be wondering what comes after that first big awakening. What usually follows is what mystics call the dark night of the soul. And if you've been through a dark night, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Awakening cuts you open, but the dark night strips you down. It's the part where old identities dissolve. Priorities that once seemed important rearrange themselves, and the things that once defined you no longer make sense to you. Relationships, careers, and beliefs start to fall away, and you're left in the in-between, wondering who you even are without them. It's disorienting and painful, and it often feels like everything is being taken from you. But here's the deeper truth. The dark night is not a punishment. It's a purification process. It's the process of emptying out everything false so that your true self and your true light can finally emerge. Think of it this way. Awakening cracks you open. The dark night empties the illusion, and ascension, which we'll get into in a second, rebuilds you on truth. These are not three separate paths. They're stages on the same spiral. And I'm not going to lie to you. You can actually go through multiple dark nights of the soul. Thrilling, right? But it doesn't mean that you have to. And just a warning to the wise, don't have expectations. Whatever path is yours for a reason. Don't fear walking it. Bigger devils just mean that you're meant for higher levels. And if you're in that dark night right now, it's because something greater is trying to be born through you. If you're going through this right now, don't do it alone. I've created a playlist called Surviving Awakening 101, where I walk you through tools that can help you steady yourself in the chaos. You can find it linked in the description of this video. Inside that playlist, you'll also find access to my Fire Bible, a free PDF guide with bite-sized tools for nervous system regulation, shadow work, and integration. You can download it directly from there or grab it inside my circle community, where you'll also find even more support and resources. So if you're looking for real practical help through your dark night, start with that playlist and come join us in the circle when you're ready. Both are linked below. Let's keep you resourced and supported as you move through this stage of your awakening. So what is the point of awakening? If you're in the dark night of the soul, you've probably asked yourself that exact question. What's the point of seeing everything differently? What's the point of being changed like this? And what is the point of all of the pain? Awakening doesn't just happen so that you can see differently. It happens so that you can live differently. And let's be honest, most of us don't actually change without a catalyst. And a lot of times that catalyst feels like fire under our ass. And fire burns. It hurts. But it's the pain that pushes us to let go of what we'd otherwise cling to and step into something higher. Awakening cracks the door open, but it won't walk you through it. And this is where something people call ascension comes in. Ascension isn't about leaving the world or floating away. It's about choosing every day to raise your state of being. It's integrating what awakening reveals. It's living with more truth, more compassion, more clarity, and more responsibility. And here's the key. Ascension isn't automatic. It doesn't just happen because you woke up one day. It's a choice that you make again and again through integration, healing, and action. And a hard truth, nobody can do this work for you. You can't carry anyone else through their awakening, and no one else can carry you through yours. Others can walk beside you. They can share tools. You can find a community. But in the end, you are the one who has to climb the mountain. That's why personal responsibility is everything. Awakening brings you to the edge. Ascension is when you step forward, and whether you take that step or not is up to you. Every awakening is an invitation to integrate and embody, to heal and to rise, not just for yourself, but for the collective, because your work becomes fuel for humanity's ascension. And the new world that we're building will only be as strong as the choices that we personally make each day. So I hope that this has answered some of your questions and given you a clearer understanding of what a spiritual awakening really is, how to recognize whether you've had one, what it looks like, and why it matters. Awakening isn't about chasing love and light. It's about walking in the dark, clearing what blocks the light, and then rising to build what comes next. Awakening shows you what's amiss. The dark night strips you down, and ascension rebuilds you on truth. If you're on this path, I want you to know and take in this one fact. You were born for such a time as this, and you are exactly where you're meant to be right now. What you do with it is up to you. If you're ready to stabilize and actually integrate your awakening, not just thinking about it, but living it, come join my free circle community at thefire.circle.so. That's where I share tools, weekly practices, and connect you with others walking the same path. And if you're ready for direct personal guidance, apply for one-to-one mentorship on my website. That's where we go deep into awakening, shadow work, and ascension together. Links for that are in the description. And don't miss the next video where I'll be breaking down the difference between awakening, dark night of the soul, activation, enlightenment, ascension, and all those other buzzwords that we get thrown around everywhere. But knowing the difference can change the way that you see and walk your path. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it. I'll see you there next week.